Hello everyone, welcome back to LaExcellence Bengaluru presents current issue of the day episode number 183. Today we will discuss a burning topic, that is Supreme Court against the comedians. All of you might know this person. This is Samay Rana. Samay Rana, who is a famous comedian who used to run India's Got Talent show on YouTube. And he made certain comments which resulted in him getting banned and his show getting banned and him being called upon by Supreme Court of India. So today we will discuss what the issue is and what are the legal and ethical as well as constitutional implications of his actions. So we'll discuss why it is in news and what is the background, what is the legal and ethical implications. In syllabus, it comes under GS paper 2, Polity and Governance, especially Constitution of India, and especially under that fundamental rights. And in GS paper 2, ethics and human interface. In here we are going to discuss about ethics of comedians, ethics of social influencers, and the context is the Supreme Court took strong exception to insensitive jokes made by Samir Rana and others that allegedly mocked persons with disabilities. So we'll discuss what the remark were, what the comments were, and what the Supreme Court's recommendations were. So the background to the case. Comedian Samay Rana, along with other stand-up artists, faced severe backlash for jokes mocking individuals with disabilities. And his joke was that during his stand-up routine, he allegedly mocked disabled children, saying something along the lines of that they can't even move properly, but their parents start crowdfunding lakhs of rupees. Bro, why would anyone donate so much just for this? So this, which was supposed to be a funny joke in his stand-up comedy act, turned out to be a controversial statement. So as a response, the disability rights activists and affected families petitioned petitioned the courts, arguing that such content was not just dark humor but amounted to mockery, stigma, and hate speech against people of disabilities or persons with disabilities. So, what was supposed to be a light-hearted joke, according to the comedian, turned out to be controversial statement which was hurting the sentiments of not only persons with disabilities but also their families. Now, what the Supreme Court's observation is. The Supreme Court said that though freedom of speech is provided under Article 19(1)(a), it is not absolute. It comes with certain reasonable restrictions. Reasonable restrictions. So court said that 19(1)(a) protects expression, but reasonable restrictions are provided under Article 19 Clause 2, which apply when the speech violates dignity, equality, or social harmony. In this particular Samarana case, court held that the jokes were violating the dignity of persons with disabilities. Then, court also made an interesting comment or observation about commercialization of free speech. Court said social media influencers often profit from such free speech, but they also risk hurting sentiments of diverse communities, in this particular case, persons with disabilities. Court said free speech cannot become a shield for insensitivity. Court also talked about insensitive and demoralizing remarks. Court termed jokes as disturbing, demoralizing, and crossing into hate speech. The court emphasized that humor cannot be or cannot come at the cost of human dignity. So the court said, though the rights are available, they have to be exercised with a certain caution. So the court said, when you are commercializing free speech, you should also bear in mind not to hurt the sentiments of certain sections of the society. Today, the court said, today we have an unfortunate incident of disabled persons. Tomorrow, It can be women, it can be children or senior citizens. Anybody can start making fun. Where is it going to end? So this was the remarks of Justice Suryakant, who is the Supreme Court judge handling this particular case. The court also said, or also discussed about summons and accountability. Samay Raina and four others were summoned, directed to submit written replies and personally appear before the bench. Later, in August 2025, the court ordered them to issue an unconditional public apology across social media platforms, which they adhered to and provided an apology on their social platform, that is Instagram and X.com. Court also pushed for policy changes. The court directed union government for the need for rules with consequences. They said the union government of India should bring certain rules which is going to bind or bring freedom of speech and expression with certain responsibility, especially in the case of social media influencers. The court said these guidelines must clearly define what is free speech versus what is hurtful speech. And the court said consequences should be specific and proportionate and not just a mere formality. Now, this is the Supreme Court's observation. Now we will discuss the constitutional, legal, and ethical implications. First, we will discuss constitutional implications. Under Article 19(1)(a), it protects free speech, but this case reinforces that it cannot justify hate or humiliation of vulnerable groups. Under Article 21, which provides right to life with dignity, the court upheld that mocking disabled persons violates their fundamental right to live with dignity. Next, under Article 14, which provides right to equality, the court held that offensive speech that discriminates against disabled individuals undermines equal protection of laws, undermines right to equality as well. So, also the directive principles under Article 41 and 46 says that it is the duty of state to protect the disabled and weaker sections of the society, and also gets indirectly reinforced here. That is, the Supreme Court's observation in this particular case reinforces these directive principles, and the need for new law, if brought upon, is going to be in pursuance of this Article 41 and 46. Next, the legal implications. Hate speech jurisprudence. Court said that it extends the ambit of what qualifies as hate speech to include mocking persons with disabilities as well. It is not just inciting communal violence, it is not just inciting hartas, it is not just inciting any hate between two communities, but also mocking of persons with disabilities also comes under the ambit of hate speech now. Next, content regulation. That is, this new legal implications or new legal directions by the government, directions by the Supreme Court to government may lead to new social media guidelines for comedians and influencers. Next is, this case sets judicial precedent. That is, it strengthens the principle that digital speech is as accountable as well as a physical speech. Next, the most important aspect, that is the ethical implications. First is the ethics of humor. This case raises debate. That is, where does humor end and discrimination begin? Next, talks about public responsibilities. The influencers, because of their stand in the society, have higher moral responsibility since their speech reaches millions and millions. Next is dignity versus popularity. That is, society must value human dignity over viral entertainment. Next is about international awareness. The case belongs or becomes a marker of changing ethical standards in the public discourse of India. We have to wait and see what the government of India or Union of India's rule is going to bring. Next, way forward. Before or despite what the government is going to bring, we have to discuss certain way forward to address these kind of issues. That is, There should be clear social media rules balancing free speech as well as dignity. Encourage comedy industry to adopt self-regulation codes. Next is launch public sensitization drives on disability rights. Next is promote responsible humor training for influencers. Next is strengthen legal remedies for online hate against vulnerable groups. And finally, encourage apology as well as restorative justice over just punishment. So, this is how we can address these issues so that we are not going to witness any more such insensitive comments or jokes by the comedians. So, this ends our discussion for the day. If you like the video, then please hit the like button, comment on it, and also share with your friends. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka.